Hi, my name is Theo, and you are listening to Between Two Trains. We bring you the best and brightest entrepreneurs in the North DeKalb area on the 1st and 15th of every month. Today, your co-hosts are Van Pappas and Eric Most. And now, Between Two Trains.
All right, welcome to another Between Two Trains. I'm Van Pappas, your friendly financial planner.
And I'm Eric Most, your better business banker.
And Eric, today we're going to take a little shift from the traditional entrepreneur that we have been bringing on the show to bring a very special guest, Lily Pabian.
Pabian.
She told me before the show and I still messed up.
That's all right.
Lily Pabian, I'm the worst with names, from the We Love BuHi organization. Lily, welcome to Between Two Trains.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to talk in a second about the brand that's been created, that We Love BuHi. But before we do, tell us how you ended up at the organization, because there was another woman that started this a number of years ago, and she's moved on to work with the Atlanta Regional Commission. But how did you come to be at We Love BuHi?
Yeah, so I guess my heart's always been here. I grew up here. My first home was on Buford Highway, apartment complex behind Paris Baguette, back in the late 70s. And from there, just lived in Doraville for a while, moved into Norcross, but always had a second home on Buford Highway. I've been in the nonprofit world before, and I kind of took a break from that and went into the consulting world and realized that my heart was being tugged back into cause and some sort of mission. I hadn't even heard about We Love BuHi, quite frankly. And when I heard about it and read the job description, I think I just fit the bill and just fell in love with it. But yes, Marion Liu is the founder of We Love BuHi. She founded it in 2015. Started as an Instagram account, and it kind of
it's amazing how Instagram
it's
has
amazing.
done that. There've been a lot of businesses they started, we're going to take some pictures of our dogs, and next thing you know, they have a whole business.
I think it speaks to the power of storytelling and imagery. I think that's the power of imagery. It's a quick way to get somebody to engage.
I'm glad you said about the story time, because if I'm not mistaken, when she started the organization, that telling the story was part of it, and I believe, did she not try to get people to record some of their stories?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that, and is that something y'all still do?
Oh, it is like our bread and butter still. It's the heart and soul of our organization in terms of programming. It's the Oral History Project, and we call it the Heroes of the Highway. And it's an aggressive collection of between 120 and 150 oral history stories, interviews of people that have lived here from the 1950s and forward. And yes, Marion started, she collaborated with Georgia State University with their library, their collections, under the Social Change collection. And it's grown from there. And we have some great stories featured on our website. But yeah, we are certainly, this is something that is very meaningful. And again, it instantly humanizes this whole area for people.
So how do you pick who's going to give the story? Do they, it's
a lot of community relation develop. I guess, just like you got a pipeline, you got to build a pipeline,
okay,
right? And it takes research. It's going out there and figuring out through word of mouth. And, this community, as with any community, is a lot of word of mouth and who it's networking, and figuring out who those people were. And because I was a resident here for so many years, I know a lot of people. So off the bat, I had 5 people lined up in my mind. But we have some exciting stories coming up, and I'm super excited to share those. It is a process. We are a nonprofit. We have resources in terms of limited resources, but we meet with them, we listen to their stories, and we publish it, and then Georgia State archives it for us. Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say, so just kind of unwind for the listener who may not have any idea what the name means, kind of specifically the organization. Touched a little bit about what it does, but what is it?
So We Love BuHi, and some people do say BuHi, which I hear that quite often.
But it's Buford Highway, so it's
Buford Highway. That's right. So ultimately, it is a bit of a movement, right? And it's really about preservation. You can't protect what you don't know. Mm-hmm. I've lived here for, like I said, since the late 70s without aging myself out. But it surprises me when people are like, I'm like, hey, right on Buford Highway. They're like, what? Yeah. Buford Highway?
They don't know.
Or I say, hey, I went to Chinatown today. What? There's an Atlanta Chinatown? Yeah. So, or Plaza Fiesta. What? They have, it's really sort of, people tend to be in their bubbles. Mm-hmm. And so we really are about building awareness of what this community has been and means for the past 40 years.
There's a lot of diversity, different ethnic groups. It's not just one group. I think there's over 1,000 different ethnic restaurants that you can go to.
Yeah.
Hispanic, Asian, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Of course, I would love if there was a Greek town. Can you help make that happen?
Let's do it, man.
Let's go Greek town. But I want to talk about that name because, as Eric said, what is that name and how that brand is. People. When I first said that name to my wife many years ago, she goes, "What? Like Soho in New York, or Noda in Charlotte?" That was a name that just Marion came up with on her own.
And I don't even know if Marion came up with that. I think it was a name that was kind of being used loosely. I think that from a brand development, and I can't speak for Marion, and I wasn't in the group at the time, but my sense is that it was out there. And it was something that
the locals were saying.
The locals were using it, and whether there was locals here in this community or locals 20 minutes down south in Atlanta, right? But it quickly told you it quickly sort of stamped a place for you, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what people, it's a quick way to get to a destination, BuHi.
Yeah.
Buford Highway is kind of a long word, I guess.
Yeah, I love Buford Highway. Doesn't sound quite the same.
Well, you don't necessarily place restaurants and a lot of the economic drivers of the area to a highway necessarily.
Right.
It's kind of...
It is unique.
Yeah.
BuHi kind of, as an area,
right,
kind of segments it and places
trying to change the perception of what people think of that road rather than just this speedway that you go in and out of town on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, because the power of social media, on this podcast, we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, people who may do things as a side hustle. Social media is a great platform to begin that. How do you monetize that? How do you get content that then people is valuable? How do you create that?
Oh, I got to dig into my consulting world. Monetizing through social, that's always sort of, that's a question.
So all the revenue for We Love BuHi is just donations?
It's donations.
All donations.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't sell ads on your website?
We do not sell ads. We are...
Do you have like a membership?
We do. Well, we're a 501c3 charitable nonprofit. So our source of our funding comes from corporations, donations, and grants. And we do have a membership program where it's a contribution, and we have different tiers. And you get...
Like what are the tiers?
We've got neighbors, we've got supporters.
Like I would be a neighbor?
Yeah, you could be a neighbor.
And how would that cost? $50?
So like $50.
A friendly neighbor.
A very friendly neighbor.
A friendly financial planning neighbor.
Yes.
So for $50, $100, whatever it is, and it's on an annual basis, you'll get some, as part of that, you get a little bit of swag, and part of it is the access to our business directory that we put together. It's online, and we also have a printed booklet, and it's just a valuable tool to figure out what the business here. It's not just restaurants. There's massage, there's nails, there's wholesalers, there's groceries, all of that. So we offer that for people.
Yeah.
And then, so you amass this database of members, supporters, etc.
Right.
And then, what do you do with that? Do you approach? Do you represent essentially those?
We do not. We're not a C6. So
there's no representation.
There is no representation
to say, hey, we're going to go lobby for you with the local government or anything like that.
There is. We do that in through our mission of awareness and connection. I mean, if things are going on, we sort of we're amplifiers, right? We help message out.
If a new restaurant came in and located in a spot on Buford Highway, would they reach out to you and say, "Hey,
sure, they
can
can
you
reach
help
out to
us? Tell the word that we're here."
Well, absolutely, they can invite us in, and we'll certainly add them to the directory. They're part of the community. But we are very careful of highlighting, from a sales perspective, from a marketing perspective. It's purely of, as our folks like to say, it's based on facts. If I'm there, take a picture. We highlight on Instagram, and it becomes sort of this sort of. It's not a direct marketing, but it's sort of that soft,
organic,
the very organic.
And it's not just business folk. We kind of, because we're business podcast, organization. But you mentioned something about individuals and interviewing individuals as well. Is that part of this?
The heroes of the highway are not.
They're not businesses.
They're not businesses. They're people that have. They can be businesses.
They could be people that
just people that
make up.
Here. Exactly, people that have been here. It's interesting. There's one of the heroes. She used to actually work at Honto's. You remember Honto's, that Chinese restaurant back in the day? And she's now over at Roswell at Rice. And her and I've had some conversations. And she's like, "Well, why would you want to interview me?" I said, "Because in that time, Honto was such an impact to this community. And I think that we've lost some of those people along the way in terms of moving or whatever. And it'd be nice to get her perspective on it because." And what that restaurant meant for us. And
now, I believe you do a couple of events, right? Don't you have like a 5K?
We do. We have a 5K. I have 2 events to talk about.
Okay.
The first one's actually a census initiative.
Oh, that's important this year.
Census is very, very huge. On March 14th, on a Saturday from 12 to 4, we are having a census festival. And we're partnering with sister organizations like CPACs and the Latin American Association. And it's going to be at Northeast Plaza. We'll be out there, and it's all about spreading awareness for the census. It's a huge initiative for this area. The other event, it actually takes place through Chamblee. The bulk of it is our BuHi United 5K run. It takes place on Sunday, May 17th. It's cool. It's an evening race.
Sure.
It's from 6 to 9. Last year, we had about 220 participants in its inaugural year. So this year, we really hope to double that up. It's running. It runs off of Peachtree Boulevard and sort of goes through the downtown areas as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How do you segment the territory for? I mean, Buford Highway, is it the left and right of that roadway, or is it extend beyond?
The way that we look at it is about a half mile north of 285, outside the perimeter, down to North Druid.
Okay.
So that's sort of that stretch. And it's not everything directly on the highway. It's everything that makes up that corridor.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that stretch is that encompasses 3 different cities.
That's right.
So you start in
Doraville.
On the south side, you start in Brookhaven, you go through Chamblee to Doraville, and obviously Buford Highway keeps going very much north. But you're saying once you get a mile after 285, that's sort of where you're
that's
calling
sort of where,
it.
Right when we get into Gwinnett, that's where we sort of call it.
Yeah, we don't need Gwinnett.
Well, I think, and the reason being is that, we really want to be advocates of this area, and there are certainly this movement.
Plus, it starts to become industrial once you get
a little bit. That's right.
Up.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Norcross has got some plans.
Yeah.
They came out with some plans. Everyone's got a BuHi master plan, right? But yeah, ours is really in this area.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Do you find that kind of a challenge to work with the different cities and kind of different visions?
Yeah.
Given the historic aspect that you're trying to preserve.
Right.
It sounds like.
Well, as I said, 6 months into this role, part of my ramp up has been to get to know the city folks, and they've been lovely to work with. I think everyone has this desire to. They know there's something unique here. They know it's valuable to the city. They know it's valuable to the South. So everyone's willingness to work together. I mean, with the census initiative that we're with, the festival, it's with Brookhaven, and they have been, have a seat at the table. Let's talk. Let's collaborate. And that's the same vibe that I'm getting with Chamblee and Doraville as well.
Very cool.
Now, I heard you on our brother podcast, What's Up Dunway, Matt and Justin
I haven't
interviewed
even
you.
heard it yet, so.
I came out this week. I listened to it. It was very good. Although I think I invited you on here before they invited
you. Sure did.
Me. So we're just going to say that we got you first.
You got me first.
But, tell us a little bit about, from perspective, you're coming on these podcasts to spread the word. What else, you have plans to, as far as spreading the word of Buford Highway?
So we do that with a couple initiatives.
Can we get on TV? Do we have any on TV?
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be helpful?
That would be very, very helpful.
Instagram videos.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. We've talked about vlogging. All sorts of, there's so many things that we could do. There's just so much there, rich in culture and stories and all of that. No, we have a couple initiatives. Our first one, as I've said, is the oral history, and it's really just getting the word out. If you know folks that have been here since the 1950s, reach out. Let us know.
How far, does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
What if it's not that far back?
Doesn't matter. Any time from 1950s,
we had
like 1970s, 80s, whatever, 90s.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I've lived here my whole life, and Chamblee has had an explosion starting, in the late 80s, early 90s, and the makeup has changed. So, would you do an oral history for someone that maybe came to the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anyone that speaks to the community, about the community, and sort of their experience and their place in it, I think it's really important to, it's history. We're collecting history, right? So that's a huge initiative for us. So anybody who wants to be an interview, we call them heroes. Anybody who wants to be a listener, those are our volunteer listeners, reach out. Our other initiative is the community outreach, community arts and culture outreach, which is what we're doing with Census, and we're partnering with the Atlanta Run Club. They're located right in the same shopping center as Super H. And for the 5K, we're also going to try to get this. We've got stories published, and we want to get a sort of a small scale exhibit out there. And so we're working with the libraries, one from each of the cities, Doraville, Chamblee, and Brookhaven, for discussions of just that, a small scale exhibit in honor of April's Diversity
Well, didn't y'all also partner with the Living Walls people?
We did a couple years ago, and that was what came out of that was just beautiful art, right?
What is that? I don't know.
Yeah, let's educate her. Actually, you need to educate me, because I know that y'all did stuff. I know there was a mural done, but I don't know all the details of it.
So Living Walls, and I'm going to do the best, because I wasn't around during that
before
time.
you.
This predated me, but Living Walls Atlanta is a nonprofit organization of using art for social messages and applying art to our city, or from an urban development standpoint as well. They partnered up with Marion, and they had this feeling about Buford Highway of, hey, how can we take people of be the voice of people of the immigrants and people of color and different ethnicities, and so they collaborated and they worked with the three cities, and what came out of that were about 10 beautiful murals across Atlanta. Buford Highway, the corridor. And what ultimately came out of that was we found sort of a diamond, Yemi Cabron. She was a Cross Keys art teacher at Cross Keys High School, graduate of Agnes Scott, but she's on the DECA. She's one of our dreamers. And she did the monarch, the butterfly that's right now at the Latin American Association. And so it was just a beautiful project. It was a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that project, and I think the outputs are just magnificent and really impactful.
I heard, switching gears for a second, I heard a news article this week which really shocked me, and I'm not sure if it was fake news or real news, about we're all panicking about this coronavirus, right? And I heard a news report that the Chinese restaurants on Buford Highway are seeing a decrease in people coming to to their restaurants, which really perplexes me that people would be so stupid to think that a local
You
restaurant...
said that word, not me.
I think that, I mean, it's stupid that people would say, I'm not going to go to a Chinese restaurant on Buford Highway because I'm scared of the coronavirus. That's so... But are the Chinese restaurants seeing a reduction in their...
I'll give you a little bit of an anecdote. This past Sunday, I brought my kids out and wanted them to kind of get a vibe of, we went around Chinatown and cruised around there. In short, yes, there has been a decrease. You hear that rumbling through the not even just Buford Highway corridor, up in Gwinnett, some of the supermarkets up there. I heard that they're pretty. There's a big chain, Great Wall up there,
sure.
And usually on the weekends you can't even check out. It's so crowded, and now you're hearing that.
Right.
It's a little bit
sparse.
It's sparse, yeah.
And so even like Ben Vo's grocery stores, he has the one there behind Food Terminal.
Right.
He has one up on. So even those places, you're saying is seeing a reduction.
I don't know those specific. I just heard about Great Wall up in Gwinnett. But I think overall, there's been a decline, and it's unfortunate. But that's what happens when you get sort of that panic. Scare. So.
Pandemic panic.
Well, we are up to the point where we need to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to play our ever fun game, Can You Ace It? So stay tuned.
Looking for an affordable, functional, and creative space to work? Check out 3411 Co-working in downtown Chamblee. They have flexible month-to-month office space options that include fiber internet, meeting rooms, printing, coffee, snacks, and networking events. 3411 Co-working is the perfect place for entrepreneurs, remote workers, and small business owners looking for a one-stop shop for your professional needs. Stop by for a tour Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and see how 3411 Co-working can work for you.
Welcome back to Between Two Trains. We come to you on the 1st and the 15th of every month with a great new guest. Today, Eric's going to take our Can You Ace It game, which is brought to you by the Chamblee Ace Hardware. Go in and see Brian Fisk there at the Chamblee Ace Hardware, and he will take care of you. Eric, I guess let's just go right into it.
Everyone knows the rules.
All right,
now I do.
2 out of 3 at least, and these are all kind of related to Buford Highway knowledge.
Goodness.
We know you love.
Pressure is on.
We know you love BuHi, but what do you know about Buford Highway?
All right, give it to me.
All right, number 1, Plaza Fiesta originally opened in 1969 and was called what? The Buford Claremont Mall, Buford Highway Plaza, or PDK Shopping Mall?
Oh gosh.
Oh, you know what I don't have? I don't have our music.
I'm gonna say B.
Wah, wah, wah.
We need our music. We don't have our music
That's
today.
That's all right.
It was A, the Buford Claremont Mall.
The Buford Claremont
that would make
Mall,
sense.
because it's right there in
It's
the
right
corner
there.
of Claremont and Buford Highway. Yes. All right. Well, we still got 2 more shots at this. 2 more shots at this.
So, question number 2. Buford Highway was given which nickname by the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce? Either A, DeKalb Motor Speedway, B, International Corridor, or C, Restaurant Row?
I'm going to say B.
Ding, 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 ding.
But I thought it was International Village.
No. International, the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, the Commerce.
The
Okay, because
Chamber-
the Olympic during that time, they called it the International Village.
Yes. The
Got it.
Chamber of Commerce deemed the corridor the
Right. Well, I got it right, so.
International Corridor.
International
All right.
Corridor. And there was, you are correct, there was a plot of land that they called International Village. In
Right.
fact, you can
There's still a sign.
There's still a sign
It's right
on
off
85 that says this way to International Village.
That's right.
The downturn happened and that never got built.
Yes.
And so it's just vacant raw land.
That could have been a trick question.
It could have been.
All right.
All right, but we got
You
one.
got it right.
We got
Yay.
one.
You got it
All
right.
Last one for all the marbles.
All right, number 3. The first ethnic restaurant on Buford Highway opened in 1976 when the area was primarily blue-collar white families. What was the name of the restaurant? Either A, the Halal Guys, B, Havana Sandwich Shop, or C, Canton House?
Oh gosh, this is
you know where those all are.
I know exactly where they're at, and my restaurant friends are gonna smack me. I'm gonna say
I will say it's not. Okay.
I was gonna say Havana.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, the Havana sandwich shop has been there a long time. And I believe it burnt down
It
once.
did burn down. We used to get the original.
That's right. So did I when I was a kid, because
that's
right across the street was my dad's favorite bar, which was the Rusty Nail, which is also still there.
That's right. Rusty Nail's still there.
Yeah, I bet you could find some heroes in that, the Rusty Nail.
You can find something in there. I don't know if you want to find it, though. No, nothing against the Rusty Nail. They're a good organization, but when you're 10 years old and your dad's taking you to a bar, there's something wrong with that.
There's something wrong with that.
But it was the 70s. They didn't care.
Well, we had passes.
You
No
take your
seatbelts.
kid.
No
Everything was
seatbelts.
That's right.
You're grown up.
All right, so you got 2 or 3, so you get this wonderful gift card. Please go see Brian Fisk
absolutely will.
over at the Chamblee Plaza. What's the slogan, Eric? The Ace is the place.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware.
Yes, I always forget that slogan.
Folks.
Brian,
folks. We love Ace.
It used to be man.
Yeah, they changed it to folks. They got politically correct.
So
that's right.
It's a graduation.
But Brian does a great job over there, and he has donated a big green egg for the Chamblee High Blue and Gold Foundation silent auction. So we thank him for his donation, all he does in the community. So, good job on the game. Do we have any follow-up questions for Lily before we part ways?
For all our Instagram folks out there, what's the handle that we can follow?
Oh, great question.
It's at We Love BuHi. BuHi.
And love is spelled out. It's not like a...
L-O-V-E. It's not L-U-V.
No shorten.
No shorten. That one is spelled out.
Okay. And then the website is also the same thing?
Exact. It's welovebuhi.org.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're also on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn as well.
And then if they want to participate in those 2 events, you said one's in March 14th?
Yep, the March 14th event, just visit our website for the information, but just show up. Okay. Or I'd love it if you reach out to me, and so I can make sure to say
What if you want to run in the 5K?
Oh, we are on active. Okay. Look up BuHi United 5K.
What's the fee to get in?
But go to Atlanta Run Club.
Okay.
We have we are partnering with them.
Yeah, they do.
So they're the
co-hosts.
Do a lot of. Yeah, they're a local gym.
Yeah.
They're great.
They do a lot of 5Ks.
Yeah, they do a lot of 5Ks and really great guys.
Yeah.
Great.
Any parting words for our guest about We Love BuHi? Oh, I know. There was something else. I know you're not going to tell us, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Okay.
We're going to lunch after this. Where are we going?
Man.
Where are we going to lunch after this?
Well, there's so many places. I've been hitting this one place a lot, and I think it's because of the weather. But I've been hitting High Pot a lot.
Okay, High Pot. Yeah,
it's a Taiwanese style hot pot place, and I've been going quite often to the point my kids are kind of sick of it.
Okay. Well, Lily, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. We have just been seeing such a big increase in the number of people listening to the show, and I appreciate all the support for Between Two Trains now that we're in our 3rd year of doing this. And so thanks for listening. Eric, take us away in parting words.
Go check out Buford Highway. It's a beautiful area of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And very accessible, too. Check it out. Get some grub. Go get your nails did.
Get your nails did. Get a massage.
Yeah. Do it all.
And love Buford Highway.
Love Buford Highway. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Guys, for having
we'll
me.
see you in 2 weeks.